It's We'll See About That with World Series MVP Ron Cey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to We'll See About That. Ron Cey here with Mike Gary. And we had a pretty exciting week and weekend with college football and the up-and-coming professional football AFC and NFC championship games coming up this weekend. And our good friend Corey's Denver Broncos, who's also in studio with us today, is the proud sports fan of the Denver Broncos. They lost their star quarterback in Bo Nix, but they have a replacement going, and their hopes are high as they host a home game.
When I came in today, actually, Corey had all these weird Civil War style medical implements, and he was trying to remove his own ankle so he could send that to Bo Nix in his stead.
Yeah, I was trying to remove one of those metatarsals on my foot just to throw. I'll just mail it to him and give him an extra one in case he needs it.
And so Sam Darnold, who had the oblique injury, who they pumped full of tramadol, that's not going to work for Bo Nix.
It's not going to work.
Ooh.
He wasn't going to be able to move.
Oh God!
That's
well.
a shame.
You know, we also have, I'm told, an anniversary today, a Laker anniversary of note, but it seems like there's more chaos on the Laker front.
What a coincidence. That's on the same week that Kobe Bryant celebrates, the late, dearly departed Kobe Bryant celebrates the anniversary of his 81-point game. I don't know how this story got out there, but Jeannie Buss, and this is reported by multiple news outlets, Jeannie Buss reportedly feels LeBron James wasn't grateful enough after the Lakers took young Bronny in the NBA draft.
You know, I mean, look, they have a new owner. You know, it's the Dodger owner and Mark Walter. We'll see how they all come to deal with that. But I was always kind of in question as to why they really took Bronny.
We talked about it on this show,
and you know, it's unsettling. It really is. Taking up a roster spot. Don't you think there's probably a better reason to go? I mean, this legacy that he has to follow, I mean, it's tough enough as it is.
It sure is. I mean, it should be noted that when Bronny James plays in the G League, which he's done a lot this season, he's playing great. But when he comes to the actual, plays against NBA players, not so much.
Yeah, well, if you are baseball fans, you will note that there was a new two players just recently here inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones. Cheater. So congratulations to those players who finally made it to the Hall of Fame. And there is an Astro chant going on in the building. We'll come back right after this. Stay with us. They still call me the Penguin.
All right, we are back. We'll see about that. The Ron Cey Show with the legend, the champion, the MVP. I'm Mike Gary. I'm also joined by Mr. Corey Marino. And as always, make sure to check out Ron's fantastic website, theronceyshow.com. Also, just a reminder to visit Melissa's Produce, because Melissa's Produce is a proud partner of We'll See About That. Be sure to use Ron's VIP code RONCEY, one word, Ron Cey, when checking out at melissas.com. Get those Super Bowl fruit platters and gift baskets ready.
Absolutely. Are you having a party at your house? Thinking about it? Or are you going to a party?
I am not going to a party. Sadly, I have to dog sit that
No!
day. Yeah, I have to dog sit. My mom and my stepdad always take Super Bowl weekend to go on a trip.
Do you have any Super Bowl treats for the dogs?
Oh, well, I can't say
you
that.
better come. I mean, you better find some.
My mom's dog is on a very regimented diet. And so,
that's a shame.
we can talk about this off the air, because if she hears this, I'll be in quite a bit of trouble.
How about you, Corey?
It depends. So I usually watch it with my father. So if the Rams lose, he'll probably be pretty upset.
Okay.
And so
I hope he's upset now. I'll be really grumpy on Super Bowl.
And then and if the Broncos win, there's just so many options. So it just based whoever's playing, because if the Broncos win, I'll probably watch it with him. But if I don't care about either of the teams, I'll probably. So if it's Seahawks Patriots, I'll probably go to a friend's house or a party or something.
Okay.
If the Broncos do, go to the Super Bowl and in fact win the Super Bowl, should I ever get coverage for the next week because you're not going to be in the office that week?
I don't know. I go to the Dodger parades. I might have to just fly to Denver,
out there to Denver
and do that parade. That would be kind of cool.
All right, folks.
Well, hey, listen, I just have one more thing to say to that. You know, your quarterback, Bo Nix. who's done a heck of a job for the Broncos, is now out for the season. The backup quarterback. You want to talk a little bit about him, and do you want to tell me how you feel about this up-and-coming game?
Yeah, Corey, how do you feel?
So, from what I've heard and read and seen, he was very sought after. He was drafted by the Patriots when last year of Tom Brady, and he was there with McDaniels. And when McDaniels left for the Raider job, he brought Stidham with him, and he traded for him. So he thought that highly of him. And McDaniels is a good offensive mind and has pretty decent schemes that are pretty complex. So that's a point for him. And then right when McDaniels got fired and Stidham became a free agent, Sean Payton, he was hired that year, and his first free agent signing on the first day of free agency was Jarrett Stidham. And he's been with the organization for 3 years. There's been nothing but great things out of it.
Okay.
And this whole last year, they said that he's been playing on the scout defense against the starting team. He's been playing better than what the quarterbacks were playing that they ended up playing. And he was running the systems really well. He's a little bit different than Bo Nix. He has a bigger arm and takes a little more risks. So it's gonna be very interesting. It's a lot of hope, and it's something that's not usually happening. You usually don't lose your quarterback one game to go to get into the Super Bowl. So it's hard, but you have a great defense and home field advantage. So I'm hopeful.
I'm going to ask you about your prediction once we get into discussing the NFL side of things.
Yeah, let's
take it away, Mike.
All right, very well done. Yeah, we're going to get into that extensively, but I think we should talk about the college national championship game. Better game than I thought was, fellas. I was expecting actually Indiana. First things, I saw a lot of punditry on ESPN. Looking at you, Pat McAfee, who, like they were all, there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, Miami's going to be competitive," and there's people actually picking Miami, coming in at number 10 seed against the undefeated number 1 Indiana team, and I was expecting Indiana to win handily, but it was quite a competitive game.
I was impressed. I think one of the things that is a part of the Hurricanes' history and tradition is their grit. And it goes all the way back to when they first became prominent, I think, back in the 1990s, along with Florida and Florida State. That's when that whole Florida area started to really flourish as a high school.
First with Coach Sullenberg, and then with Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, and Curt Cignetti has put together a program at Indiana that is probably going to be a model because they've gone 27-2 here with a team that 3 years ago was at the bottom of the pit. And he's been able to do that. The only, it's phenomenal because I thought that the Indiana Hoosiers were the most complete team of all of the teams out there this year. They won games like you expected them to win games against lesser opponents. They beat Oregon, a powerhouse, on the road early in the season to kind of establish the fact that the year before was legitimate. And then they beat Ohio State in the championship game, really a tough game, and are the number 1 seed in the tournament, and they just absolutely maul Alabama and Oregon and get to this championship game. And they took a 10-point lead early. They kind of established themselves early. And Miami had to fight back, and Miami kept fighting back. And every time that Indiana would score, Miami would come back. So it was a great game, and I'm happy for the Hoosiers. It's their first national championship in their school's history. They finished a perfect 16-0. Their Heisman Trophy winner, Fernando Mendoza, played a very key part in that game. And maybe you can tell me what you thought of that great touchdown run late in the game.
Oh, that was it was so exciting. And also, it should be noted that, this was kind of a home game for Miami. It was played in South Florida.
It was played in their home stadium.
In their home stadium, correct, at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. And that run was incredible. The defense, though.
4th and 4.
Yeah.
This is a must-need here.
Yeah.
It's a 3-point game, isn't it, at that point in time?
They were down.
They were down.
They were down 3 points.
Mm-hmm. And they come back, and then
That's right.
to seal the game with a defensive interception with Jamari Sharp intercepting Carson Beck to seal the victory. It was just a great game. I was very happy after the game to see Cignetti, who I really like. I think he's not the kind of typical college coach where he's screaming at people and stuff like that.
Lane Kiffin? He's not Lane Kiffin?
He's not Lane Kiffin. He's not Nick Saban. He's not, Les Miles. He's not Ort Gron or anything like that.
Ooh, wow.
And he was asked afterwards, all the questions were like, what's the next step for you? And he's like, I love it here, and I'm not an NFL guy. I really like that.
Yeah, well, I think that there are guys who are just kind of suited for the college game, just like in basketball, Stay where you are. Mike Krzyzewski, the Duke, all-time winner in college basketball, he coached the Olympic teams, but he did not coach professional basketball because I think that that's where he felt he could do his best work. And I'm pretty sure that he was compensated extremely well for that, but probably not what he would have been compensated on a professional level.
Yeah, and the hobnobbing with the owners and so on and so forth. And there's plenty of examples. Billy Donovan, for example, who's a great coach at Florida who went to the NBA and flamed out. I mean, it's a different skill set.
It is tough. And, it is a different thing. I am, Oregon. I want to talk a little bit about Oregon because they're one of my teams, and I'm very pleased because they have kind of edged their way into a top 5 program nationally. Their record over the past 2 years is 27-3. They were the number 1 seed in the CFA tournament last year. The only teams that they lost to were the national champions.
Yeah.
Indiana and Ohio State.
Yeah.
And Indiana beat them twice this year. And so that's even furthering my opinion of Indiana. When you beat Oregon twice in 1 year, and they've only lost one other game, and that to the national champion Ohio State in the year before, wow, what an accomplishment.
Real fast, we got about a minute left. Paul Feinbaum, who I personally don't care for, he said that the SEC is in crisis because the following 3 straight Big Ten teams have won the national championship. What's up with the SEC, guys?
Yeah, I think once everybody could buy players, it kind of watered it down, and now the SEC can't do what they did for 50 years.
Yeah. Well, I think that once the Big Ten expanded and you now brought in the powerhouses from the the old Pac-12, when you brought in Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA, you look, the Conference of Champions, UCLA, USC, Stanford, all have won over 100 national championships combined.
Yep. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Talk a little NFL right after the break. We'll see about that. Stay with us.
Hello, Ron Say.
All right, we're back. We were just talking during the break, and why aren't we talking about this on the air? Because it was compelling. And so we were talking about, the NCAA, because we just finished talking about the national championship game. Once again, congratulations to Indiana. And what's happening with conference realignment, with NILs, and with the transfer portal. And it just seems like who's the winner and the loser here? And Corey, what was the conspiracy theory you were talking about?
Oh, yeah, I've been reading on the good old Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, that everybody complains about the NIL and the transfer portal and how it's the term Wild Wild West is thrown around with every commentary. And I've read and heard that this is how the NCAA wanted it. They kind of let it be the Wild Wild West so they can come in and be like, look, this is why we didn't pay players or didn't let them have autonomy and be able to decide where they want to go. And so then they can come back in a matter of years with a structure that they already had in mind and be like, now we're going to take back the control, and now you guys are going to get paid a little bit, but now it's still more money funneling back into the team. I'm even saying teams because that's what the college sports are now. It's not even to the college. It's to the team, but it's to the college and then back to the NCAA.
Well, so the NCAA, similarly to Major League Baseball, the MLB, so on and so forth, it's a trade organization for its members. And so, just as MLB is a trade organization for the MLB's owners, the NCAA is, they talk about student athletes and all that kind of stuff, but really it's a representative of the schools, and the schools that have, the biggest clout and, the biggest prestige are going to control that conversation. So, and I think it kind of behooves the the NCAA to have it both ways, because we've seen with the Oregon quarterback, Ron,
Yeah.
there was this whole thing about
The manipulation that went on.
and like he was getting offers from all these other schools, these other and nil situations, $4 million here, $6 million here, so on and so forth, and it became like a LeBron James decision thing, where at the end of the year, even after the national championship game, or even in the interim between New Year's Day and when the national championship game is being played, you have all this hot stove stuff, and I'm sure the NCAA and the teams love that, because it keeps the college football in the conversation, gets more airtime on ESPN and Fox Sports, therefore more interest. They can gauge that kind of metrics, and that means more money when it comes up to the next media deal.
Yeah, and to add more to the chaos already, this Duke quarterback. Duke is suing the quarterback for not honoring in the moment his contract because he's being offered more money to go and jump to another school. And as you saw here, I think maybe a week or two ago, the Oregon quarterback, the Washington quarterback, had signed a deal that significantly increased his NIL, and he opted out of it like 4 days later.
Yeah.
And then there was manipulation done by him going down to LSU to speak with Lane Kiffin, as the story goes. And then a couple days after that, after there's threats of saying, you can't do this, bring in the NCAA, let's have a ruling on this, contract to contract. And then he backed out of it, apologized, basically said, I'm here, I'm ready to play, let's move forward. Yeah, I mean, these kids can opt out at any point in time now. I mean, the system is what kind of a show it is.
It's not a great one. And I think there's three things to discuss here, two of which have connected. The one thing is conference realignment, and I think that irks me the most because, as we were talking during the break, is all the great matchups of my childhood, the kind of history and pageantry and tradition,
yep.
They're gone.
They're gone.
The Nebraska versus Michigan, one of the greatest games of if you'd watch all year. USC versus UCLA, great game, and there's all these great rivalry games that
Notre Dame and USC too.
Notre Dame and UCLA, absolutely. USC, excuse me. And so that one thing that irks the fans. But then you have the two other things: the transfer portal and the NIL. And I think those two are things related, because if the NIL, if Corey owns a car dealership outside the University of North Carolina, and he can offer the quarterback of Oregon $5 million to come transfer to the University of North Carolina, he's probably going to do that.
Yeah.
And so I mean now the NCAA has complained that paying players is going to turn them into mercenaries, and paying players I don't think turns them into mercenaries. It's the transfer portal combined with the NILs that turns them into mercenaries.
Yeah. Well, they don't have a plan as to how to get out of this, and I think that all the coaches have said at some point in time that it needs to be realigned. You need to take care of it. And I think that Lanning and Oregon and Cristobal at Miami have said similar things that I can remember. But yeah, I don't think it's healthy. The alumni is punished. You have a team, and then you have a team that's going to a bowl game, and they are asked to do their support, which is, basically fund 30,000 tickets that you've been given to go to the bowl game. It's on them to make sure that those seats are taken and paid for. And then you have kids transferring out, and you're asking kids on the intramural team to come and play in the bowl game because you don't have enough players.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's happening because the portal's open before the bowl games are over.
Exactly. And then you have that. You have kids sitting out because the portal's open. You have coaches looking at you, Lane Kiffin, that pull themselves and their assistant coaches because they've taken a job in between the end of the season and the bowl game. And I don't know, probably Corey gets these emails too from our alma mater, the great University of Northridge, the Harvard of the Valley.
Yeah.
And they said like, hey, give us some money. And if I went to USC and I was getting emails like, hey, can you give us $1,500? And I'm looking at the quarterback getting paid $10 million by some investment banker who lives down here. I mean, what the heck is that?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just...
Well, I'm glad it's their problem. I wouldn't want to deal with it.
You can't have free agency every year.
No.
It's just not how it should work.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only solution that I can see is that they go back to how it was before, where you have to, if you want to transfer, you got to sit out a year. You got to redshirt a year.
And nobody's going to do that, I don't think.
Well, where are they? Because before nil, that you knew if you redshirted,
But you weren't getting paid.
You weren't getting paid, and so the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is that if I go to college, I play, I start, I show out, I might go to the NFL and I'll get my money there. Now these kids are getting their money in college. And so if they're going to redshirt and still make $6 million, imagine how fun that would be. If you're like 23 years old, you're at the University of Alabama, you don't have to do anything. You're not playing. You're throwing the ball around in practice. You're taking basket weaving as your major, and you're getting paid $6 million a year. I mean, that sounds like fun, but also, fellas, that's going to get a lot of kids in trouble.
Oh boy, I hope they're not redshirting guys for $6 million. I swear to God, I don't know how you afford it. Anyway, we should try and move on to
NFL.
The NFL. Corey, we're back in your corner.
We're back.
You've got, New England, who's been, kind of under the radar, in my opinion, all year long. They have really put together a very solid team. They're strong. They run the ball well. They manage the football well. They play great defense. They win football games. Denver at home without their starting quarterback, with a great defense that's carried them most of the way. Do they have enough offense to be able to stay in this game?
I think they do, because a couple things that have irked me all past couple seasons is no one ever gave Bo Nix his due. No one's coming out on all the shows and being like, who killed it this week? Bo Nix. So like they've been winning games. He broke the record. He won 25 games in 2 years, and he has the most wins in 2 years as a player. And so he does a lot of things. The only thing I'm scared about is that he doesn't get sacked ever. He has like a 3.5 sack to pressure rate. And our offensive line, the Broncos' offensive line is really good. But I think they were saying that Jarrett Stidham holds the ball a little longer to let plays develop a little more. So it might be I hope it's not drastically different. But if he can come in there and do what Alex Smith did back in the day with Andy Reid and do that game manager, that defense is amazing. And the Mile High crowd, it's very hard. The Patriots, with Tom Brady, he went 0-4 there in the playoffs. They are 0-9 as the Patriots are 0-9 as a team in Denver.
Yeah, I love it. Can they say that again?
0-9.
I love that. Thank you.
Weather going to be a factor?
Yes. I mean, it's not going to be they said slight flurries, but it's going to be 20 degrees, so it's going to be more like the Rams game than the Patriots game. So it's not going to be snowing and rainy, but it's going to be cold.
Yeah, well, they're both
used
accustomed to that, so
but
there's no real advantage playing them.
What I have to hope for is the cold combined with the thin air for the Patriots gets them gassed. And like you said, they do have a big the best parts about their defense are their big defensive tackles. And those are the guys that at the end of the fourth quarter in Mile High will be sucking air, because you bring around that 400-pound frame, like we were talking about in the lobby earlier, going against those linemen for 3 hours, you're just butting heads. You just got to hope you keep it within range, kind of what the Bears did all season, and the Broncos who won a record 12 games coming back.
Yeah.
But you have to keep it within close, hope your defense creates turnovers, hope Stidham doesn't have any turnovers and can get 1 or 2 touchdowns on with a couple field goals, and you hope you walk out of there. The crazy thing is, like, the Patriots will be a lot easier than the Seahawks or the Rams if they make it to the Super Bowl.
Understood.
So
yeah,
playing with hope.
The big play in the Buffalo Denver game late with the pass interception, catch in the interception. How did you see that play? Because there seemed to be a lot of controversy over it.
So I saw it as he was diving to the ground when he was catching the ball. Brandon Cooks was diving to the ground. So there's 2 ways. As I saw it, the Bronco player had his hands on the ball when they were both going to the ground. And as they rolled over, as McMillan rolled over Cooks, the ball got lodged out, and in like one swift motion, it was almost like choreographed, and it happened, and he popped up with the ball. And so I thought, me and my twin brother, he's not a Bronco fan. He hates when the Broncos win. He said he thought it was an interception. And I also thought that even if the cornerback wasn't there, you have to have the catch while you're rolling over and hold the ball. So I thought it might have popped out even if the defender player was there. So I thought it was an interception.
You thought so? You did think it was an interception?
I did.
I have a little bit of a lengthy take on it, so I'm going to hold it
the fire.
till the
all right,
next
all right,
segment.
Ron. All right, that's a tease. We call that a tease. Ron's gonna prophesize right after the break. Stay with us, folks. All right, we are back. We'll see about that. And Ron has a take about the very interesting, was it an interception, was it a catch that took place in the last Broncos game, in the divisional game against the Bills. Ron, please.
Well, I have listened to both sides, and for Buffalo, it was a bad call, and for Denver, it was a great call. Yeah. And my immediate reaction to seeing the play is that, we've always been taught, according to the rules, that the player is supposed to be able to follow through with the catch after hitting. He's got to follow through. He's got to maintain possession. It seems as if when they're going to the ground that, they're, like you say, both guys have hands on the ball. It is in the possession of Buffalo at the moment. But as they hit and as they roll and they come out of this, the ball was taken out of his hands at that point in time. Is he down on contact? Yes. However, if you're down on contact, you still have to follow through with the catch. If the ball comes through and out, when you roll over, it's an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
Correct?
Exactly.
So the fact that the ball changed hands, to me, meant that it was an interception. That's how I saw it from the beginning. And, sometimes the rules take over what, all this has to do with it. But I was under the impression that it was an interception. I mean, it was I can definitely see where, like I said, through the explanation where, the guy was down. You're not supposed to be able to take the ball away from him when he's down.
That's how I saw it.
Okay,
yeah.
So but completing the catch when you roll over, you're supposed to be able to. You have to maintain throughout, correct?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I saw it. I don't know if I would have been surprised if it was ruled the other way, but the fact that it was ruled the way that it was, I felt that was the rule that I was going to stand on. I thought it was an interception first.
I thought that. I think you're right. I mean, nowadays, just because of the technology where you can look in super slow motion and all that, I think that, I mean, it could have gone either way, personally. Yeah. For me, personally, like when I see if you're the receiver, you're catching the ball, you have possession or even what it looks like possession just as the eye test, and you are tussling with the defender, with the cornerback, the safety, the defensive back, and you see cornerback, receiver with ball, ground, all in contact. That's down. That's a catch and down by contact. Mm-hmm. But like you said, the juggling, as you're rolling over, all that. Did he have possession? Was it a football move or not? I can understand. But
okay, I have just one question.
Sure.
Okay, so let's follow it through all the way to where now this happens, and in the exchange, the ball comes loose. Is it an incomplete pass?
What do you think?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. I had, of course, the Broncos all on my X feed where there was a play by one of the Texans wide receivers where it was almost 80% of the same play, but the cornerback was not in the picture. It was a wide open, and he dove and he rolled, and as his shoulder rolled, it kind of bumped the ball out and flew out onto his left. So and it was a drop, and they counted it as a drop. And when I look at these plays like that, so yeah, that's the thing. You have to complete the catch, and we've had the whole Calvin Johnson putting the ball on the ground. There's been crazy. No one knows what a catch is anymore. And the crazy thing is, sometimes I've learned in the past couple of years that when I watch these kind of plays, I go and look at how the play was supposed to be watched before technology. And it happened so quickly and so bang, bang, to where I was like, if you're watching on the field and you don't have the screens above you, the Denver Stadium was going insane and the craziest part is one for the Broncos, of course, but the way that Cooks reacted when he got up, he looked disappointed, not up to the refs being like, "Oh, did you just call that an interception.
Yeah.
He was like, "Wow, that play was gnarly, and I lost."
Yeah. Well, also he doesn't want to get
Well,
15.
where would we be without instant replay?
Well, we'd have
You know, we would have
We'd have a lot more
controversy
happiness.
after
I feel
they
Well,
would. You know,
ignorance is bliss.
on the flip side, exactly. I mean, you can get it right, or you could have a game that's an hour and 50 minutes instead of a 3-hour game. I mean, it's you pick your poison, whatever you want. And
well, I'm happy.
I'm of the
for-
mind to think that, I mean, going back to kind of like a baseball thing, like it all equals out in the end. In an aggregate over a season, each team's going to get hosed, and each team's going to get the benefit of another team getting hosed.
Yeah, and if
No, Ron doesn't
well,
like that take.
the thing is that one play doesn't define it because it was, of course, it's important because it's at the end of the game. But the 4 plays that led up to it, the 4 turnovers that Josh Allen committed, without those 4 plays, that one play doesn't matter as much.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that is that
Nothing matters.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
You know, and so we can always speculate on, well, if they hadn't thrown this interception or if they hadn't had 4 turnovers, they would have, it wouldn't. Well, you can't.
Well,
because
yeah,
it
I
did.
mean,
and the part that I had a little bit of a question about is, I think you have individuals that are lucky. Some are lucky, and some aren't so lucky. And from that point, when you add this guy who's on your team with his not being so lucky and this other guy who is, then I think as a team, maybe over the course of the year that they even out.
Yeah.
But they don't have to as a player. And I think that the quarterback, as an example, is the one who loses out on this because of drop passes that end up being interceptions or whatever. They're on him.
Yeah,
It's a drop for the receiver,
Yeah.
but it's an interception.
50 years from now,
It's a turnover.
Yeah.
It's an eyesore.
in the 50 years from now in the box score, it's going to still say
Yeah.
interception. And like what Corey said though about like the interceptions here and like, well, you shouldn't have been here. Well, I mean, if a frog had wings, it wouldn't bump its ass in the lily pad. I mean, it's just kind of the breaks. All right, we got to pick these because we got to talk baseball.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously Corey's going with the Broncos.
I am.
Over the Patriots. Ron, who are you picking?
I don't think the Broncos can win without Bo Nix.
Okay.
Simple as that.
So you're picking the Patriots. I am picking the Broncos because I love the Broncos and Corey's my friend and also
I just wouldn't care as much if it wasn't the Patriots.
me too.
They had the easiest schedule to get into the playoffs, and then they had to play Justin Herbert, who is I love him as quarterback. I wish he was I wish I had him over Bo Nix, but
Okay.
he is the worst in the playoffs. And then you get C.J. Stroud, who in 2 games had 10 turnovers. And then what happens in the second to last play? Bo Nix breaks his ankle, and you play the backup to get to the Super Bowl.
All right, settle down.
No, it's okay. I understand. And I feel bad for Houston and their defense has played so great all year long. Your quarterback just goes absolutely south for 2 games, 10 turnovers. Guys lose jobs for that.
Yeah.
Their defense could not handle those 10 turnovers. That's why they lost.
I think I can't take another 20-year dynasty of the Patriots with their erotic massage owner
Yeah,
and
those
all that.
poor first graders who didn't get to see wins.
Oh, no.
All right, guys. Rams, Seahawks. Seahawks have a 7-point favorite in this game. They're at Seattle. Who are we picking?
Go ahead, Corey.
I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go
Underdog.
with the underdog. I think the offense is good. I think the defense can come out on fire, and we'll see if Sam Darnold could do it.
It's a longer take for me a little bit. Seattle played so great against San Francisco. Kind of a carbon copy, but even a little bit worse of what they did to them a couple weeks ago. I was glad to have both my teams in a position to be in the NFC Championship game and a possible trip to the Super Bowl. But I felt that Seattle was better. Sam Darnold has done something that only 4 quarterbacks in history have done, which is win 14 games in a row, 2 years in a row. Yeah. I think he's a lot better than people have given him credit for. I think Seattle's defense is obviously on a high right now. They have had 2 great games against the Rams. I expect it to be the same way. If Seattle can play defense like they did last week, I think they will win. The Rams played an incredible game in Chicago, winning in the weather, withstanding that Hail Mary pass from Caleb Williams to tie the game. Had to go into overtime, and then picked off another ball that stopped a drive early in the overtime period, and then drove down the field and kicked a field goal. So both games that were played, Seattle had 4 turnovers in the game that was played at SoFi, and you should not have even been close, but they were, and they ended up losing the game on a 60-yard field goal after battling back. And then, of course, that crazy game where it was up in Seattle, and Seattle made another comeback and won that game on a 2-point conversion. I see it. I hope it doesn't go down to that, but I see it as a very close game, a 1-score game, possibly a game-winning field goal. But I'm picking Seattle.
Okay, all right. So we have Ron picking Seattle, Corey picking the Rams, and I will pick the Rams as well because I think Matt Stafford's on a mission because I think he wants to retire. I think him and Clayton Kershaw want to open up a restaurant together. All right,
That would go a long way for my Aaron Rodgers take.
Ooh.
I need that to happen.
So for people listening on podcasts, listen to last week's episode, and you'll hear Corey's hot take about Aaron Rodgers, which I don't know if
Should we
you
let
want to
him go?
All right.
Should we let him go or not?
We
got time?
We got to drive people to the podcast, but okay, yeah. You think that if so? All right, go ahead, Aaron.
So
Go ahead.
my hot take, it has a little pre-qualifiers, but if the Rams win the Super Bowl and it so happens that Stafford wins the MVP, I think he retires. And I think that Aaron Rodgers, with he's like 48 now, and I think he goes in and he tells McVay, "I got one in me," and I think the Rams sign Rodgers for 1 year and try to run it back.
And that's when Ron and I leave town, move away.
I hope not. I hope not. It would be a Band-Aid, and the Rams are better than that. They can find somebody better than that. All right, I want to get to something that I think we can discuss. We'll run through it quickly. The Dodgers just signed Kyle Tucker, the number 1 free agent on the open market this year, according to those who know their stuff. And he signed a 4-year, $240 million contract with close to a $60 million bonus. The effect of that is astronomical. The Dodgers payroll now grows to $410 million.
Yeah, unlike the previous deals with Ohtani, and not a lot. Only $30 million, I think, of this contract is deferred. So it's a $57 million per year.
And he
aggregate.
also has deferred payments, which I think now takes, according to what I had read, the Dodgers owe $2 billion in deferred payments. Correct? Okay, so there just happens to be a big CBT player, and the luxury penalties are escalating. They are going to in this 1 year, they are going to pay for the rights of having Tucker. They're going to pay MLB $126 million alone. That's more than 11 teams' individual payrolls for the entire year, this up and coming season. Something wrong with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I mean, is he worth it?
He's not worth 60 a year. He's a great outfielder, and he might be worth close to that on a different team, but especially being a third out, like he would be the second because they'll move Teoscar to left and then still have Pages, but there's no way that's worth 60. And he came in and said he wanted to live in LA and make money and have a championship, so I don't see what's wrong with his end.
On his way,
and he's got it all.
And you know what? If you look at his last 2 years, you would say, how did you even come close to getting this kind of a contract?
Well, he had a great beginning of the year, and then the end of the year he got injured, and then didn't end out so well.
I want to talk more about this right after the break. You guys stay with us because I think this is an important conversation to have. Stay with us. All right, We are back. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, make sure to check out Ron's fantastic website, theronsayshow.com. You can check out his awesome book there, Penguin Power. Also, check him out on Instagram, The Real Ron Say, also available on Facebook and on Cameo for special requests. We're talking about the signing of the Dodgers' Kyle Tucker, and so I want to pose a question to you. We only have a short amount of time. Ron, you mentioned $123 million, so $120-ish million back to the MLB. That gets chopped up and sent to the other teams. So if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, and you have, I believe, the lowest payroll in all of baseball. You're winning about 40 games a year. You own the Pittsburgh Pirates. Why would you even want to spend money on free agents or build your team when you can just field a terrible team, sit back, and get money sent from the other teams, and you're making a profit every year? I mean, you're not making $1 billion like the Dodgers, but you're making a handsome profit.
Well, you're in this business to win. And I don't think major league teams can survive being poor. You're not going to bring too many people to the ballpark, and that's why you have a franchise. The city wants to have something it can root for. If it can't support it, it's not going to work. It has to be more competitive financially as well. The basic agreement, I think, comes due this next year. And there's been a lot of talk about, a strike or a delay of some kind. And I believe that's a real possibility.
Some are saying that the owners will insist on the salary cap.
Yeah, and the players, the Players Association will not entertain that for 1 second.
Yeah, and so that's going to be. I mean, that seems like two things that you have immovable objects there.
Well, and that's the crazy thing is with that impending cap, there also comes an impending floor, and it. People have done some math, and it looks like if you have a $200 million cap, it would be 80 to 90% of that would be the floor, and that is above over half of the teams what they spend.
So like
now.
$90 million floor salary. So we have to pay $90 million for your entire roster, even if you're the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah,
previously
and
only
so
paid $40 million.
What it would round out to is at least 10 of the teams that would be under that this year. So they would have to spend more. And so it's going to be they're going into lockout.
They did that with the NBA. They put a floor in the 90s, and there was a lot of consternation, but it did work out at the end.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a struggle either way. To me, they've gone well over the top already. You've got guys who do very little and get paid tons of money, and we've already gotten close to a player that are we really gonna see in the next 10 years a $1 billion player?
I think we will.
Hang around, we'll see. But thanks for joining us on We'll See About That. See you next week. Have a great weekend.